Hello, I'm Jo Howell, and welcome back to Jo Howell's blogcast. Today we're going to go all the way back to August the 20th, 2018, and we're going to read Mixing It Up, Cyanotype Printing and Mixed Media Approach. So if you're new to the blogcast, essentially what I'm doing is going back through the blogs that I've written over the years and then reading them out, hence it being called a blogcast. Okay, so why use cyanotype process? I love the versatility of the process because it gives me the freedom to bring together different elements in an expressive way that doesn't cost the earth. The cyanotype solutions that I use are pre-mixed by cyanotype.co.uk. I'm just going to put an interjection in here. This is so old that I was buying pre-mixed cyanotype solutions. So it's interesting that now obviously I just buy the crystalline substances and then mix it up as and when I need it. So I'm not even sure if cyanotype.co.uk still exists. I might have to check that out after finishing this. Anyway, I mix a cup full of each into a container, approximately 15 millilitres of each solution in darkroom conditions. Another caveat, you really don't need to do that. It's overkill. There's not enough light in the UK, especially in the northeast, for you to be worried about light affecting and fogging your cyanotype. Oh, good. Anyway, I did say you don't necessarily need a dark room in the traditional sense, but definitely use as low a light situation as you can manage. So, okay, I'll agree with that 6 years ago, me. This basic mix can be applied to most porous surfaces that you might want to put a photographic image on, including hardy watercolour or acrylic papers, wood, bisque ceramics, stone, eggshells and natural fabrics. Go a bit further and throw that solution in with some gelatin, your average powdered gelatin for cooking, and you can create a viscous solution that you can apply to the smooth surface. And you will create a viscous solution that you can apply to a smooth surface, such as glass or metal. Seriously, cyanotype process encompasses so much. The pieces that are then on show are self-portraits. And it says, these pieces I created on watercolour postcards and have been exhibited in Darlington. They use the self-portraits that I shot in the studio using a self-timer. I wanted to use my body in a dance-like fashion to explore my connection to Sunderland shipbuilding and mining past. These images I then turned into negatives on acetate so that I could cut them up and expose the images, including ribbons. The works were a quick, expressive investigation into my female expansion from the male-dominated industries. No one in my family has ever been a professional creative. Plenty of the male line have worked in the pits or in the shipyards. Sunderland still uses these industries in the formation of its cultural identity. In such a microcosm of a city that was built firmly by the patriarchy, where was my place as an independent and creative woman? I'm not saying that I came to any conclusions through creating these works, but it was freeing to consider things in such an abstract manner. Wow, okay. I mean, when you go back in time and you read things from a while ago, obviously there are many things that change, like your perspective, how much knowledge you have on a subject, and even the way that I speak and the way that I've chosen to write that back then kind of feels quite alien to the way that I work now. So that was Mixing It Up from the 20th of August. We'll just jump on to the 21st of August in 2018 as well. And this one's called More of the Blue Stuff. I use cyanotype solutions to explore different ways of image application and manipulation. This beautiful scene of a boat on the River Wear at night is a familiar scene from most landscape photographers in the area. The dappled light upon the water and the soft focus of the boat due to the rhythmic motion of the water is captured in a long exposure. The original digital image I shot back in 2009 is awash with yellows, pinks and greens. I only used a small segment of the original image in the creation of this postcard. Again, creating a digital negative on acetate in order to line up the image with the hand-painted emulsion. Blue and gold were the favourites of the Egyptians to indicate royalty. The colours ping off each other in an interesting way. The addition of gold allows me to raise the importance of the image that the gold is on. It's an area that I'm just beginning to explore. The second image is created by laying an old glass bottle directly onto paper. I flipped the image in Photoshop so that the writing is the right way. I have flipped the image in Photoshop so the writing is the right way round. I like the fact that the original postcard is an artifact of process that I can work into infinitely once digitised. Find out more about me and my work by using the link below. And this is my current project that you can get involved with. And I'm advertising We're Experimenting, which was a commission that I had in 2018 with the Cultural Spring and the Northeast Photography Network. So that's 2 from August. And I think we'll maybe do 1 more from August, and then I'll call that a wrap for this blogcast. Okay, so for actually in 2018, the month of August, I have 4 entries. So we'll try and get through the whole month of August 2018, and then I will leave it at that for this blogcast. So on the 27th of August 2018, I was doing Battle for Sunderland. Battle for Sunderland. Hilton Castle Project were very kind to allow We're Experimenting to set up a darkroom tent at their Civil War reenactment. It proved to be a wonderful location with lots of people who were really excited to use the pinhole cameras. We managed to work with around 200 people across 2 days. I was really over the moon with the amount of wonderfully eerie photographs we made. I ordered a new book to record the event. The weather was abysmal on the Saturday with torrential rain and fog, so I wasn't really impressed. Let's try that again. The weather was abysmal on the Saturday with torrential rain and fog, so I was really impressed that the participants weren't bothered by the long exposure times in the rain. I have another set up in a new location next Saturday. I'll have to do an equipment check tomorrow, as I think nearly every battery I own needs recharging. The work was very physically intense, but I'm happy to say that I managed fairly well with the pace. My darkroom is a hydroponic tent that I have kitted out with some filtered battery-operated camping LED lights. They work a treat. Each light cost around £4 each to make, but were brilliant and a great lo-fi alternative to expensive darkroom safe lights. Please follow the project. Obviously, there's no point now, it's over. But if you want to find out more about that particular project, if you hashtag We're Experimenting, We're as in the River Wear, so it's WEAR, experimenting, all one word. And if you do that, you'll probably find like loads of posts that weren't just by me, but were also by the community who were involved. Okay, and then finally, 31st of August 2018, in the studio. I mentioned in a previous blog that I had goofed up my cyanotype mix. All of my prints were coming out a wishy-washy blue, and most were just washing away after extremely long exposure times. It was really getting on my nerves. I batch prepare my watercolour paper for workshops, and I had made a fair bit for my We're Experimenting project. I hate waste, and I had been searching my brain for what had happened. In the end, I realised that it was the solution itself that wasn't working rather than the exposure times, or that my old exposure lamps were on the way out. So the next batch, I did a lot smaller than before. I did exactly the same mix, but I suspected that the particles had settled in the bottom of the bottle. I made sure to vigorously shake about, the two solutions for around 30 seconds. I think the solutions worked much better when they were allowed to dry for a minimum of 24 hours in the dark. Thankfully, shaking it seems to have had a great effect, and my blue is back. I've had some fun messing around with different ways of applying the solutions, and I think that I'm in love with the skinny rectangle format. Other than that, I have been working on We're Experimenting. This is approximately where Other than that, I have been working on #We're Experimenting. This is approximately where I'll set up a dark room at the Doxford Park Family Fun Day. It could be interesting, hard to shift the kit from the car park to the location, but I'll manage. I also ran a fairly impromptu session for We're Experimenting from my studio for a group from Sunderland University. Wonderful new foreign students getting to grips with the local lingo. They thoroughly enjoyed the session and threw themselves into the task. So check out the live feed on http we'reexperimenting.co.uk. That doesn't exist now, don't check that. To see all of the fab photographs that I've made with the people of Sunderland. It's a big week coming up with community sessions in the Deaf Centre and 2 days of pop-up dark rooms, Thursdays and Fridays, in the Bridges Shopping Centre opposite Tesco's. So thank you for reading, and if you have any questions about my project or process, feel free to comment. And that, my friends, is all I am going to bother you with today for the blogcast. Hopefully you have enjoyed it, and I will catch you for the next one.